This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, Rabbi. We have something really out of the ordinary today. Really amazing. We learned a lot in preparation for Sukkot. There's a lot about Sukkot, Daled Minim, Sukkah, Simcha. And then as much as there is known about Sukkot, there is even less known about Hoshana Rabbah. But now Hoshana Rabbah is making a big comeback. Right now, everybody is into Hoshana Rabbah. But what sort of falls away in the wayside is Shemini Atzeres. What exactly is Shemini Atzeres? It's a Yom of Simcha. What exactly is it? And what we're going to learn today is really absolutely astounding. We're going to be learning about Shemini Atzeres today, because we don't have an opportunity before Sukkot. Chol Hamoed, we don't convene. So just want to point out some unbelievable things about Shemini Atzeres. Hopefully give us a much deeper insight into what Shemini Atzeres is. First of all, we have a comment in the Ma'aser Rav of the Gra. These are the practices of the Gra in Ois Reish Lamed Gimel, number 1 on your sheet. Hagoyin zal hoyo sameach ma'od v'chag HaSukkos. The Vilna Gaon was always very happy on the Yom Tov of Sukkot. Very happy on the Yom Tov. We know the Gra passed away on Sukkot. The yard side of the Gra is on Sukkot. One day of Sukkot, the Gra was exceptionally exuberant. His face was shining. And they asked him, well, what happened? Why are you so happy? He says, today's the Ushpizin of Yaakov Avinu. Today's the Ushpizin of Yaakov Avinu. And Yaakov Avinu came down and he kissed me. And that's why I'm so happy. Okay? And he came down and he kissed me today. Any event, but as happy as the Gra was on Sukkot, Uvi Yoiser b'Shmini Atzeres. He was the happiest on Shemini Atzeres. Ki hu Yoiser Yom Simcha mikol Yemei HaChag. Because Shemini Atzeres is the happiest day of all the Yom Tovim of Sukkot. As happy as you are on Sukkot, as much Simcha as you are in Sukkot, Shemini Atzeres is the happiest day. So you want to know which Yom Tif is the Mizman Simcha Seinu, Sukkot, and which day of Sukkot is the biggest Yom Simcha? Shemini Atzeres.
So he's associating Shemini Atzeres with Sukkot.
Yeah, certainly associated with Sukkot, right?
It's the only mitzvah there is a Shemini Atzeres.
But why would the Gra be so happy specifically on Shemini Atzeres? What exactly is the big Simcha of Shemini Atzeres?
Palmer says it's the only mitzvah there is on Shemini Atzeres.
Okay, but why would it be more Simcha than Sukkot even? What? There are no mitzvahs, so what are you so happy about? Okay, so Rabbi Sai, we have an amazing comment from Rav Shlomo Kluger. Rav Shlomo Kluger. The Rav Shlomo Kluger writes in the Sefer Kilas Yaakov, in the Drashos of Rav Shlomo Kluger. By the way, Rav Shlomo Kluger is one of the most prolific writers of all time. In Yeshiva Chavetz Chaim in the library, they have like a 400, 500 page Sefer from Rav Shlomo Kluger on Bereshis. Not Sefer Bereshis, Parshas Bereshis. And then another 400 to 500 Sefer on Parshas Noach. And then another one on Parshas Lech Lecha. And another one on Vayera. And another one on Chayesara. I mean, dozens of Sfarim. It's unbelievable. And they're coming out every week. New Sfarim are coming out from Shlomo Kluger. One of the most prolific writers of all time. And he says he was always bothered by the following question. We know there are 3 parshas in the Torah that talk about the Yom Tovim. One in Vayikra, one in Bamidbar, and one in Devarim. Vayikra you have what? Emor. Bamidbar you have Pinchas, the Karbanos. And in Devarim you have Re'eh. In Emor, it talks about Sukkot. It talks about Shemini Atzeres. In Pinchas, it talks about Sukkot. It talks about Shemini Atzeres. In Re'eh, it talks about Sukkot, and there's no mention whatsoever about Shemini Atzeres. What happened? It's a Pella. Mamash a Pella. You have 3 parshas of the Mayadim. Vayikra and Emor, Sukkot, Shemini Atzeres. Pinchas, Sukkot, Shemini Atzeres. Re'eh, Sukkot, not a word about Shemini Atzeres. What happened?
They dropped the holiday.
They said, forget Shemini Atzeres. What happened to Shemini Atzeres? Then we find something else that's unbelievable about Shemini Atzeres. Look at number 3. When you say Shemini Atzeres in the Yalav Yavai, what do you say? Es Yoim Shemini Atzeres HaChag Hazeh. Yeah? Or some people say Es Yoim HaShmini Chag Ha'atzeres Hazeh. Some say Es Yom Hashmini Ha'atzeres Hazeh, and they don't say the word Chag. By the way, Minhag Ashkenaz is not to say the word Chag. Every Machzer says it. I can't answer that question. But if you want to know what the Ramah writes, take a look at number 3. Leil Shmini Oimer B'Tfilah. On Shmini Atzeres you say in the Tfilah, V'atiten lanu es Yom Shmini Chag Ha'atzeres Hazeh. Mechaber says on Shmini Atzeres you should say the 8th day, the holiday of Atzeres, Chag Ha'atzeres. Zok the Ramah V'anu Noya. Again, you know what our minhag is? She'ein Oimrim Chag B'Shmini. We don't say the word Chag on the 8th day. D'loi matzinu b'shem makom shenikra Chag. We don't find in Kol HaTorah Kula that Shmini Atzeres is called a Chag. Sukkos is a Chag. Pesach is a Chag. Shavuos a Chag. Maybe even Rosh Hashanah is a Chag. Tiku b'chodesh shofar b'kesel yom chagein. Right? Rosh Hashanah is called a Chag. Shmini Atzeres, nowhere is it called a Chag. Ela oimrim Yom Shmini Atzeres. That's quite odd, no? Very strange. That the Ramah is saying that even though we all think the word Chag means holiday, festival, Yom Tiv, no. We don't find in Kol HaTorah Kula, Shmini Atzeres is called a Chag, and therefore don't say Chag in Yalav Yavai.
And Atzeres means stop. What does word Atzeres mean?
That's also an important discussion. I don't know if we're going to have it right now, but we want to know, why is Shmini Atzeres not called a Chag? Why not? What does Chag mean? And why would Shemini Atzeres not be called a Chag? There's one of the great all-time Sephardic Gedolim, was Reb Chaim Falaji. Reb Chaim Falaji. He wrote a sefer Moyed L'chol Chai. And he says something otherworldly about Shemini Atzeres. Look what he writes. He writes, Ma'oid yizaher b'tfilah Shemini Atzeres. You should be very careful with the prayers on Shemini Atzeres. La'oimram b'kavana gedola, to say them with tremendous kavana. Ki melavad tikun kol hayamim r'yayim Rosh Hashanah ad Shmini Atzeres hu nishlam. Aside from the fact that the tikun, the rectification of all the days from Rosh Hashanah till Shmini Atzeres is completed on that day, v'hakol taloi b'yom zeh, and everything is dependent on Shmini Atzeres. Listen to what he says. Oy tam yesh bazeh. Ki ein b'chol elu hayamim, of all the days of the Yom Narah, starting from Rosh Hashanah until the end of the holiday, till the end of the Yom Tov, there is no day which is Yom Ratzain LaHashem, which is a day of Ratzin to Hashem. L'shmaya Hashem tfilasei, for Hashem to hear your tefillah. B'chol mad debay, whatever you want, kayom hazeh, like Shemini Atzeres. You hear? Imagine you stop a Jew on the street, you say, Rabbi Yid, I have a kasha for you. You need anything? Yeah, I need parnasa, I need good health. What day do you think would be the best day of the year to daven for what you need? So I would have come up with every other day on the calendar before I came up with Shemini Atzeres. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Hoshana Rabbah. No, it's none of the above. Shemini Atzeres. Shemini Atzeres, I know you asked for rain, but no. There's no greater day of Ratzon before Hashem than Shemini Atzeres. V'im kain min aroi liyos kol hayom azem mizboided im kainai. You should spend the day in solitude with your Creator, lomai Torah, to learn, v'leser lefnei Hashem, and to entreat God sheyishma tfilasai, that He should listen to your tefillah, v'yasa bakashasai, and He should do your request. You should make your request. You could lower it a little bit, AC. Okay. So Rabbi say, the question is, what is so special about Shemini Atzeres that the Gra says it's the happiest day of the year? Why is it that Shemini Atzeres is completely ignored in Sefer Devarim? Why is it that the Ramah says that nowhere in the whole Torah is Shemini Atzeres called a Chag? And number 4, why does Reb Chaim Falaji say that the greatest day of the year to daven is Shemini Atzeres? What's going on over here?
What happens to Chassid Lechem, according to him?
What happened?
What happens to Chassid Lechem, according to him? The whole day is spent in tefillah.
Yeah, I guess he means aside from the Suda, right? I don't know. But it's just the concept that the greatest Yom Ratzah of the whole year. It's a shocking concept.
Yeah.
Why should that be? So we all know that throughout the days of Sukkot we bring how many kvasim a day? 14 kvasim a day. 14 times 7 is 98. Keneged the 98 klalis. And then how many parim do we bring? On the first day of Sukkot we bring 13. The second day, 12. 11. 10. 9. 8. 7. A total of how many parim? 70 parim, right? Keneged the 70 umay sa'ilam. And comes Shemini Atzeres, and how many karbanos do you bring? One par. One ayil. What happened to all the karbanos? Says the Medrash Tanchuman Parshas Pinchas. Look at number 5. Lefika Chamar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kol Shivas Yimei HaChag, for the 7 days of Yom Tov. Sheheyisem Makrivim Lefanai Karbanos, that you brought for me karbanos. Al Umay Sa'ilam. For the nations of the world, we know there's 70 nations of the world, so over the course of Sukkot, you bring 70 karbanos. Heyisem Makrivim Sheven Parim. Aval Achshav, but now that you finished offering karbanos Keneged the Umay Sa'ilam, Hakrivul al atzmchem, you need to bring a carbon for yourself. Shabayom hashmini atzeres tia lachem ve'kraftem oila yishei reach nichach l'Hashem par echad ayol echad. Okay, now you're bringing a carbon for yourself. You only need to bring one. Says the Medrash. You know what this is like? Mashal lemelech she'asusuda shiva yamim. It's like a king who made a party for 7 days, and he invited all of his subjects, right? V'zimein kol b'nei ha-medina v'shivas yimei ha-mishnah. He invited all the people of all of his subjects for 7 days. When the 7 days were over, kivan sha'avru shivas yimei ha-mishnah, when the 7 days are over, Amar la'ayavai, he says to his beloved, he says, you know what? I already partied with everybody. Now I want to make a party just with you. I've already fulfilled my obligation toward the people in the country. Now me and you, let's get together. But we don't have to make a big party. We'll just use whatever we find around. We'll use the leftovers. The litra shel basar, a cheftza of meat, a piece of meat. A litra shel dog, a piece of fish, a yarak. Kach HaKadosh Baruch Hu amar l'Yisrael. Kal karbanos shehikravtem b'shivas yimei hachag. All the karbanos that you brought for the 7 days of Sukkot. Alumay sa'ilam heyisam akrivim. You brought them for the nations of the world. Aval bayom hashmini, but on the 8th day, negalgel ani v'atem b'ma she'atem moitzin. Me and you will hang around with whatever we find. B'par echad v'ayalech. So says the Medrash, the first 7 days of Sukkot, we're very, very busy. We have to bring karbanos for all the Umay Sa'ilam. But on the 8th day, Hashem says, okay, the Goyim, they're done with. They're finished with. I have no need for them anymore. It's just me and you. So we don't need to bring so many karbanos. We'll just use whatever we find around. One par, one ayah. Ask the Bnei Yissaschar, right, the Rebbe Midinov. It's a Pashat Akasha. And also the Sefer Bina Le'itim. From the Bina Le'itim was written by Rabbi Azariah Figo. Azariah Figo is one of the early Bali Darshanim. All the Sifrei Hadrush of the Achroinim are very much based on the Bina Le'itim. And the Bnei Yisrael has a Pashat Akasha. Who does Hashem like more? The Goyim or us? Of course, He loves us the most. Whose party is Hashem most interested in? With the Goyim or with us? With us. So why with the Goyim do they serve a 10-course meal of 70 bulls? You know how many spare ribs and steaks you could get out of 70 bulls? And when it comes to Klal Yisrael, we have to subsist on, a little piece of meat? Well, what's pshat? Why would Hashem have the most important Suda, the most meager and measly Suda? Why is it for the Ummah Sa'ilam Hashem has to wine and dine them? And for us, we're stuck with one cow.
Because there's much many more of the Ummah Sa'ilam than Bnei Yisrael.
I mean, they're just more Goyim in the world.
Yeah.
But you would think if Hashem loves us so much, then Hashem would, He'd want to feed us good. Why just one par and one ayah? Look at the Bnei Yissaschar. Look at number 6. Look what he writes. But it's like the purpose of Shemini Atzeres is Hashem wants to show His love for us. That's how He shows His love. For the Ummah Sa'ilam, they have 13 cows and we have one.
Tough love.
Tough love. It's like Hashem says, now that the Goyim are gone, it's just me and you. So now I could serve you, leftovers. What's with that? Look in the Bnei Yissaschar, look at number 6. Chazal nos nutam. Lama, b'chol yimei hachag, makrivim harbe parim. You know why you have so many bulls during Sukkot? Uv'yom timna, and on the 8th day, par echad, ayal echad, va'amru b'mashal, l'melech, this is like a king. Sha'asa suda l'chal avadav kama yamim. They made a suda for his servants for many days. L'yayim achar, and amr la'oyavai, asay li suda katana kadesha, ahana mimcha. Hine yesh lehis boinin, adarabba, pink fakert. Kivan shu oyavai yatzlai, if Hashem loves us, adarabba. Hashem should say, I love you so much, let's make 10-day meal. Let's make, for you, well, we should party for 180 days. We should have the 30 courses. What does the medrash mean? So I should benefit from you. So Rabbi say, the Bino Le'itim and the Bnei Yissaschar both say an idea that I personally find extremely inspiring, extremely moving. Very powerful idea. They say the following. You have a big party for all your family and friends and everybody comes. And you have... Imagine if, like this, you had a friend, he calls you on the phone, Yankel, how you doing? I haven't seen you in 30 years. Yankel used to be your best friend. You used to go out with him, used to schmooze with him, you used to talk to him. You used to enjoy his company. And now he's come in from out of town, and you have an hour to spend with him. So where are you going to take Yankel? You're going to take him to a fancy restaurant, you're going to take him to La Marais, and give him a 30-course meal? By the time you finish eating, you have not spent one moment together with Yankel. You love this person so much, you just want to enjoy their company. You like to talk to them. You like to look at their face. You just like to be with them. You just like to be with them. I'll give you another mashal. Imagine if after your chasana, you go, right, after the Kedushin, after the Nesuin, there's Yichud. Imagine Yichud, sorry, let's eat. You meshugana? Eat? That's not what you do after the we don't want to get distracted by the food. Because we enjoy each other's company so much, we love each other so much. The food is distracting from the kiruv hadas, the kiruv basar, so to speak. Says the Bino Leitim, if you have a really close, intimate friend, so all the embellishments of the Suda and all of the fancy foods and the extravagant foods and the various courses are distracting from the main thing, and the main thing is the closeness. The closeness. You don't want to have a big Suda, because you don't want the Suda to distract you and detract from enjoying the company, enjoying looking at each other, enjoying being with each other. So the Rebbeinu Shalom says, K'viyachal to Klal Yisrael, when I'm together with the Goyim, I don't love them intrinsically. I need them in this world, they have certain function. So let's make a big Suda, 70 cows, and that takes care of the tachlis. But Klal Yisrael, I love you intrinsically so much that we're just going to make a Suda Ketana, so Kadesha Ahana Mimcha, so I could enjoy you. I can enjoy your company. I can enjoy your friendship. I can enjoy your intimacy. Listen to the words of Bnei Yissaschar. Look at number 8. It's a beautiful idea. Number 8. Aval hamaskal al davar. Anyone who really comprehends the matter. Soid Shemini Atzeres hu ikar yoim hanirtza lichud Hashem. The secret of Shemini Atzeres is that it is the primary day that is dedicated to the unification of Hashem. What he explains. V'zehu hanirtza. This is what it means. Aseli suda ketana. Shaloi laharich b'hanos asuda. Let's not get distracted by the pleasures of the meal. Let's get the meal over with quick, because we have more important business. You hear this? I want to have hana, pleasure from you. Kiviyachal bekiruv basar, so to speak, in the most intimate fashion. Let us not get distracted with food. Very beautiful idea, very powerful idea. And the Bina Leitim says the same thing. He says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines from the bottom. This is the Bina Leitim in Jerush Yud Zayin. Ubeir Hatam, Kadesha Ahana Mimcha. The reason why Hashem says don't make a big Suda is because I want to have Hana from you. It's in the end of number 7. Lemantiali hahana hanechsefes mimeni shehi mimcha atzmecha. The Hana I want, says Rebbe Hashem, is from you. Ki lo yashana ela me'atzmusach. I'm only deriving pleasure from your intrinsic quality. Mi yedidus chavrusach v'noyam panecha. From the sweetness of your friendship, from the pleasantry of your face. V'ilo hoisa asuda rabba. If the meal would be too big, ha'isi mashlich roi v'azman lacha. I would be wasting away the time eating. V'lo efna lehishtashe imcha. I would not be able to delight with you. Kenavshi savi. Ulehis ayra zeh. And according to this inspiration, Siva, Hashem commanded us, Levilti hikriv b'shmini atzeres zeh el par echad bavad. Hashem says, you know what? Let's not get distracted. Just one par, kedei lehis atzer, because I want to withdraw atzeres, ulehis akev, and to wait, the yedidus Yisrael. So in other words, of all the days of the year, if we could say, on what day are we closest to Hashem? Are we most intimate with God? Shemini Atzeres. What day was the Kiddushin, the marriage? Shavuos. Hashem gave us the Torah tzivalanu, Mayrasha, Atikri Mayrasha, Ella, Na'irasa. That was the Erusin. The Chuppah is the Mishkan, the Sukkah is the Chuppah, Nesuin. But there's something even more intimate than Nesuin, and that's the Yichud. The Yichud, where we're alone with Hashem. Shemini Atzeres. Very beautiful idea. Very beautiful idea. And perhaps we could suggest, the Derech Efshar, that the Mishnah Berurah brings down that Al Pi Kabbalah, it's not halacha, what I'm about to say, it's Al Pi Kabbalah, but the Mishnah Berurah brings it down. We know Al Pi Halacha, Tashmish Hamita is also on Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av. And that's it. But Al Pi Kabbalah, the Mishnah Berurah brings down, one should not, this is not halacha, it's Kabbalah, the first night of Pesach, the first night of Shavuos, Rosh Hashanah, and Shemini Atzeres. 2 days. 2 days. Now the Mishnah Berurah goes on to say that if somebody who's out in the world and has taiva, so to speak, so it's better for them not to get into more serious issues. But Al Pi Kabbalah, so okay, I understand Rosh Hashanah is a Yom Hadin. I understand the first night of Pesach is Leil Seder. I understand Leil Shavuos, But what's Shemini Atzeres? Shemini Atzeres, why? Why? Perhaps because it's almost, so to speak, Rebbe Shalom says, the whole idea of Shemini Atzeres, Ani roitze lehanois mimcha. I want to be with you. B'yichud. So perhaps this would be somewhat of a contradiction to that. In any event, you look in the Lashon of the Yalkut Shimon, you look at number 10.
Sorry, the one before, so in Chutzlaretz, the 2 nights of Shavuot and 2 nights of Pesach?
I don't know, he doesn't say that. I don't know. Look at number 10. The Lashon of the Medrash is, V'kiven sheyatzu shivas yimei hachag, when the 7 days are over, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so achshav ani v'atem nismach yachad. We'll rejoice together, yachad, b'yichud. Rav Moshe Shmuel Shapiro, in the Sefer Zahav Mishava, points out the difference between the Simcha of Sukkot and the Simcha of Shemini Atzeres. On Sukkot it says, Usmachtem lifnei Hashem lekecha. The Rebbe Shalom Kaviyachal is in Shamayim, and we rejoice before Him. But what did we just read in the Medrash? What's the Simcha? Ani v'atem nismach yachad. The first 7 days, we rejoice lifnei Hashem, before Hashem. On Shemini it says we rejoice together with Hashem, beyichud. It's a diuk of Rav Moshe Shmuel Shapiro in the Sefer Zahav Mishava, and it's quoted in the Sefer Zman Simchaseinu of Reb David Cohen, the Rosh Hashiva of Hebron. Very beautiful Sefer. Zman Simchaseinu. Highly recommended. If anybody goes to the Sfarim store, you want a good Sefer for Sukkot, Zman Simchaseinu. Okay. Says the Chassam Sofer. Well, let's just point out at number 14, Reb David Cohen, in Zman Simchaseinu, he also points out this beautiful idea that there are three levels of the relationship with Hashem. There's Kiddushin, number one. There's Nesuin, Chuppah, number two. And number three, Yichud. Yichud. So he explains that the marriage, the Kiddushin, was on Shavuos. The giving of the Torah was Kiddushin. Sukkot, which corresponds to the building of the Mishkan, is Keneged the Chuppah. And Shemini Atzeres is Kiviyachal the Yichud. The Yichud with the King, with Ribbanu Shalaylam. It's the most intimate time of the year that we are with Hashem, right? If we were to ask, at what time of the year is the Ava, is the Kesher the strongest? Shemini Atzeres. Very beautiful idea. Says the Chassam Sofer, look at number 13, in the name of the Ramami Panoi. Ramami Panoi is Rav Menachem Azaria, one of the Italian Mekubalim. By the way, Ramami Panoi published, the Maran Bet Yosef entrusted Ramami Pano with the folios, with the Gilyonos of the Beis Yosef to publish. Ramami Pano had a publishing house in Italy, and he also published the Pardes Rimonim of the Ramak, Moshe Cordovero. And he says, why is it that all the Yomim Tovim are called Chag, and Shemini Atzeres is not called a Chag? You know what the word Chag means? Chag means chuga, eagle, a circle. You know why a Yom Tov is called a circle? Because it revolves around something. Right? If you have a circle, you have a hub. What's the center point of the circle? No, I'm asking in physical terms. What is it called? The center point of a circle? Well, you know, the lines that go to the center are called the spokes. What's the center? The hub? Well,
hub. I always say spoke and hub, but when I talk about airlines.
Okay, spokes, and a Yom Tov always revolves around the center point. You know what it revolves around? A mitzvah. So, for example, Rosh Hashanah revolves around Shofar. Yom Kippur revolves around Inoi, the mitzvah V'Inisam. Sukkot revolves around Daled Minim, Sukkah. Pesach revolves around Matzah, Marah. Shavuos revolved around the Shtei Halechem. There's only one Yom Tov of the year that doesn't revolve around any mitzvah. You know what it is? Shemini Atzeres. There's no mitzvah.
There's a mitzvah to be sameach. It's the only mitzvah you have in Shemini Atzeres.
There's no chefsa shel mitzvah. There's no item that you do a mitzvah with. You know why? You know why? Because you know who it revolves around? Hashem. Hashem himself. It's like Hashem is saying, don't get distracted with the mitzvah. It revolves around me. And then he says further, all the Yomim Tovim of the year are on the outer edge of this circle. You know what the hub of the circle is? Shemini Atzeres. All the Yomim Tovim are a chag around the center point, Shemini Atzeres. Shemini Atzeres has no mitzvah. The mitzvah is simcha with the Ribbanu Shalom himself. No distractions, no karbanos, no mitzvahs, just us and the Ribbanu Shalom b'yichud. Yizkar is a more recent.
Yizkar is only on Kippur.
Rabbi Sai, you want to know why the Vilna Gaon was the happiest on Shemini Atzeres than any other day of the year? Because as happy as Sukkot is, the greatest day of simcha of all the Yomim Tovim, even of Sukkot, is Shemini Atzeres. Because we're mesameach, not with the lulav, not with the esrog, not with the matzah, with the Ribbanu Shalom himself. It's us and God. B'yichud. That's why Shemini Atzeres is not called a chag. It doesn't revolve around the mitzvah. It revolves around the Ribbanu Shalom himself. Okay, now listen to this. The Gra, this is from the Sefer Koil Elio, Parshas Re'eh, Ois Kuf Yudalad, like you pointed out. Thank you. V'hayisa ach sameach. You should be only happy. What do Chazal darshan in Sukkah? Ach sameach l'rabbis. That you should have simcha the night of Shemini Atzeres. Because on Yom Tov at night, the first night, there may not be a chiyuv simcha yet. The chiyuv simcha comes during the day. But on Shemini Atzeres, and that's why, by the way, the Chassam Sofer explains, why is it that for other Yomim Tovim, the Simcha is only during the day, and Shemini Atzeres is the only Yom Tif that the Simcha is at night? Very pashut. Because all the Yomim Tovim, why is there Simcha? Because of the mitzvah. The mitzvahs are only during the day. Sukkah is only the day. Esrog is only, right? The Esrog is only the day. Shofar is only the day. So therefore the Simcha is only the day. Shemini Atzeres, the Simcha is because of Ribono Shel Olam. He's always there. That's why there's Simcha at night. Says the Gemara says, "V'hayisa ach sameach." Ach is marbeh that you should have simcha even the night of Shemini Atzeres. Ask the Gra, Pasha Tekasha. The word ach is always what? Ach is always a miyot, right? Ach. Kol achin v'rakin miyutin hein. Ach and rak is always a miyot. And here ach is a riboy? Says the Gra, yeah. Because the whole sukkah, there's so many mitzvahs. Sukkah, lulav, esrog, hadassim, simchas v'sashueva, and simcha. But on the 8th day, all you have, it's a miyot. It says you don't have all those mitzvahs, and you only have simcha. It's a miyot, which is marbeh. It's saying all the other mitzvahs are not there, all you have is simcha. So the main mitzvah of sukkah, of Shemini Atzeres, is simcha with the Ribono Shel Olam himself. And that is why, Rabbi Isai, very interesting. You have on your sheet number 18, and I believe on your sheets you have number 19, a parish on the Zayar. The Zayar explains why the day of Shemini Atzeres, like remember the Moed L'Chol Chai said that on Shemini Atzeres is the greatest day of the year to daven for whatever you need for, right? The Zayar explains. Look what he writes. He says,
19?
Number 18.
18.
Listen to this. Tachazi, come and see. B'yoyma, and 19 right is an explanation. B'yoyma da, on this day of this is referring to Hoshana Rabbah. Shalmin u'mestaymin amin berchan delhaim. The nations finish with their blessing. What does that mean? Because on the first day of Sukkot they have 13 bowls, and then 12, and 11, and 10. So they're being blessed for 7 days of Sukkot. V'sharon bedina. And finally, on the Hoshana Rabbah, they start their judgment. But on Hoshana Rabbah is when we end the judgment and we start the blessing. V'Yisrael b'yoymada, and us on Hoshana Rabbah, Mesayma dinin delhain, we finish our judgment. V'sharon bebirchasan, we start our blessing. You hear? We're the exact opposite of the Ummei Sa'ilam. The Ummei Sa'ilam, they're being blessed during Sukkot with all the parim. Their blessing stops on Hoshana Rabbah, and their din starts. We've been judged from Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur until Hoshana Rabbah, and now our blessing starts. Dehaliyoyma achara, because tomorrow on Shemini Atzeres, Zminin, we are invited le'ishtasha b'malka, to delight with the king. Linnot laminei, to be able to take birchan, blessing, l'chol shata, for the whole year. Uvahi ched v'sa, and that joy, le'mishtakchi b'malka, there is not found with the king, ella Yisrael b'chodayim, only the Jewish people. Uman the Yosef b'malka, can anyone sit with the king? B'not alei b'chodai, and the king takes him alone. Kamai debay shal v'yavle, he can ask for anything and the king will give it to him. Everybody knows, if only you could have a private audience with the king will give you whatever you want. So on Shemini Atzeres, when the Rebbe says, you know what? Now it's time for me and you to enjoy each other's company. Forget the karbanos, forget the mitzvahs. Let's just enjoy each other's company. We have private meeting, private company of the king. So you can ask for whatever you want, says Azayar. V'yaldo Yisrael Sharon. This is what Klal Yisrael has. V'yamin Mesaimi, but the nations have finished their blessing. V'aldo Ksiv Ahavti Eschem Amar Hashem. And that is why the Moed L'Chol Chai writes, of all the days of the year, the day you could gain and get from the Ribono Shel Olam what you need, what you want, there is no greater day of tefillah than Shemini Atzeres. So that is why Rabbi Isai, like we started, of all the days of the year, the Vilna Gaon was the happiest on the day of Shemini Atzeres. That is why Shemini Atzeres is not called a Chag, not L'Griusa. We're not downgrading Shemini Atzeres. We're upgrading it. It's not a Chag. It's beyond that. It's above the need to be a Chag. It revolves around Hashem. That is why on this day you can ask Ribono Shel Olam for whatever you want. Hashem says all you need is one par. I want Rotzani Leihanas Mimcha. I want to benefit from you. Says Rav Shlomo Kluger, And that's on the updated sheet that hasn't been printed yet. It's number 19 on the updated sheet. I switched it for the Mosek Midrash. He says like this. The Yalkut Ruveni tells us on the words Eila Hadvarim Asher Diber Moshe that Moshe Rabbeinu spoke Devarim to Klal Yisrael Lefnei HaKadosh Baruch. Hashem was listening. So when Moshe taught Bereshis, Hashem told Moshe, Moshe told Klal Yisrael. Hashem told Moshe Shemais, Moshe told Klal Yisrael, Hashem wasn't listening. But Devarim was in the presence of Hashem. Says Rav Shlomo Kluger in Parashas Emor, when Hashem told Moshe about Shemini Atzeres, about Sukkos, so Moshe tells Klal Yisrael about Sukkos and Shemini Atzeres, Hashem's not listening. Kulai shivchai shalai b'fanav. You want to know how great Rebbeinu Shalom? You want to know the tremendous shvach of how much Hashem loves us? I could tell you about that in Sefer Vayikra. I could tell you about that in Sefer Bamidbar and Parshas Pinchas. But Devarim Hashem's there. Lefanav, you can only say Miksah Shvachai. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu says, the greatest shvach of Rebbeinu Shalom is that he gives us Shemini Atzeres. We can't say it when he's listening. It's too much praise. Says Rav Shlomo Kluger, he says, since Chazal tell us, Kulai Miksah Shvachai Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'fanav, V'Kulai Shalai B'fanav, and that's the Medrash in Bamidbar Rabbah, in Bereshis Rabbah, Parsha Lamed Beis, we learn out Miksah Shvachai B'fanav, because we say Imru Lelekim Manoira Masach. Before Hashem we just say Manoira. And Shaloi B'fanav we say Haidul Hashem Ki Toiv Ki Li'olam Chas. And therefore, since Sefer Devarim, Hashem, Moshe taught Klal Yisrael before the Rebbeinu Shalom, therefore Parshas Re'eh has no mention of Shemini Atzeres. He says, I'll read to you the words. Kivan Shemini Atzeres Moira Goydel Avas Hashem L'Yisrael. Since Shemini Atzeres teaches us the tremendous love Hashem has for Klal Yisrael, V'kivan Shu Lefanav Yisbarach, since it's in the presence of Hashem, Loi Amar Kol Shvacha, we don't want to say all the praise. And therefore, because Shemini Atzeres is so awesome, it's Ayoim V'Noira, the Ava Hashem has for us is so indescribable. Sefer Devarim, which is B'fanav, therefore we leave out Shemini Atzeres because only Miktsas Shvachai B'fanav. Rabbi Sai, I wish you all a good Yom Tif.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.